Hello everyone, and welcome to your reimbursement training. We are going to walk you through the process of submitting a reimbursement. So first, what is a reimbursement? This would be a purchase that you have made personally, so you have actually paid for either sample product or some sort of supply for the execution of one of our events, and you need to be reimbursed for that cost. So that's what a reimbursement is. To submit a reimbursement, we're going to go ahead and head over to this link. This is what we call a single sign-on link. So it's going to really allow you to access just about everything that you would need through our organization. And that includes Oracle. If you're familiar with Oracle and have logged in, you probably have, at least when you first got hired. And this is also going to allow us to access Concur, which is what we'll be submitting reimbursements through. So here we go. Let's get started. Signing in with your credentials. Again, this will be the same credentials that you use to sign into Oracle. You'll see Oracle right over here, but today we are going to head over to SAP Concur. So go ahead and click that, and since you signed in with that single login, it's going to log you right in. We'll go right ahead up here to the top, which is Start a Report. So this will be the process every time you need to submit a reimbursement. And now we're going to go ahead and set up our report, or really start our report and enter a bit of information that we need to get going. So we'll start with report name. And for the report name, you're going to go ahead and enter the name of the retailer you worked at. For this example, we're going to use Whole Foods. So I just did a sampling at Whole Foods. My sampling took place on 4/21, so I'll go ahead and enter the date as well. So report name, again, is always going to be the location where you worked, the retailer, Whole Foods in this case, and the date that you worked. Policy name will stay the same, ASM, you don't need to change that, and there's no other options here, so just go ahead and leave that alone. Report date is going to be the same. Leave it as it is. That's the date that you're submitting the report, which will be today, the date that you're doing so. For business purpose, we are going to go ahead and enter event reimbursement here. And comment, this one's important. What event were you working? This is where you'll enter the specific name of the event. In this case, we're going to enter Chobani Yogurt sampling. And now we're going to head over to division department. So what we're going to do here is you're going to actually select the division or department based on a chart. The chart is located in the training materials. If you haven't received that, please reach out to your event coordinator for that information. But what you'll do is you'll go ahead and click on this section. You might have to click it 2 or 3 times to highlight everything. And then you'll go ahead and enter the correct code corresponding to the correct retailer you worked at. So in this case, we worked at Whole Foods. So the Whole Foods code is 134559. And what you'll see when you enter that code is right down here at the bottom is where this code matches. Sometimes it might enter up here. These are going to be your recently used, but in cases where it might be the first time, it's going to pop up down here. So let's go ahead and click that. We see the number matches. And you'll see Whole Foods pop up there. So there we go. Job title, we will leave the same. No need to change that. And now that we're done on this screen, we'll go ahead and hit next. Now you won't see that pop up when you log in. You will actually see this screen, and what you're going to go ahead and do is select the right category for your expense or expense type. Now you're really only going to be choosing from 2 options. And oops, I went back a little too quickly there. Let's cancel and head back. So you're really only going to be choosing from 2 options ever, and that would be sales, supplies, or samples. The majority of the cases, your purchase is probably going to be samples. So that would be any product that you purchased for the demo or for sampling. If it's something outside of product, let's say maybe you bought a skillet because the skillet broke, or some sort of supply, then you'll go ahead and select sales supplies. But in this case, it's going to be samples. And now we're going to go ahead and fill out the details for the purchase. So transaction date has to match the date on your receipt. My event took place yesterday, the 21st, and that was the date that I made the purchase as well. Then we're going to go ahead and enter the business purpose. So the business purpose here was a demo. I demoed a product at Whole Foods, and that was my event. The vendor would be where we made the purchase at. I purchased the product from Whole Foods, since that's where I was sampling, and that took place in San Diego. And here's a really, really important one. We want to make sure that we enter this correctly. So this is always going to default to payment type cash. That is what you want it to be. You'll see there's only two options. So company paid, that would mean that it was on a company credit card and you're not going to be reimbursed for it. Cash means that you made the purchase yourself on either your own credit card or with your cash, and you need to be reimbursed for that amount. So make sure that you select cash, and do not click on this box, because again that would block you from being reimbursed. So just leave that blank. Now we're going to move on to the amount. Again, the amount needs to match whatever is on the receipt. It does need to be an exact match. In this case, we'll say $14.88 is how much we spent. And you'll see that the department here, that is the correct number that we entered before. Since we entered that at the beginning of the report, it automatically changed it over here, so that will stay the same. And this one right here, bill expense to client, anything with a red bar has to be filled out. So we have to select an answer for this. We don't expect you to know the answer for this. This is always going to be yes. So no matter what the case, if you're unsure, you're always going to select yes, bill expense to a client. Now, we've filled out everything we needed to fill here. We've double checked and made sure that the amount and the transaction date and the vendor all match what is on the receipt. So now it's time to attach a receipt. Really simple. You'll just go ahead, click attach receipt, and then you'll be able to browse through your files to find the correct file to attach. In this case, I don't have an actual receipt that I'm going to attach, so I'm just going to put an attachment there. This is really just for training purposes, so we'll attach, but make sure that you do attach the correct receipt. And then once that receipt is attached, we'll go ahead and press save down here at the bottom. So now you'll see this just popped up right back to where we started with selecting the expense type. And over here, here is the expense that we submitted. This little green space with the check mark, that shows that we have submitted a receipt. And if you click it, as you can see, that's going to show you an example receipt or a photo of what that receipt looks like, what that file that you uploaded was. So we are good to go. Now if you have another expense, you can go ahead and go through that same process. You'll go through samples and enter the second receipt that you have. But in this case, we don't have a second receipt. We're just showing you how to do this once. As you do more and more, they will all end up piling up right over here. So you'll have multiple reimbursements if needed. But in a lot of cases, you're probably just going to have one. So here we go. We've got it all set up. And from there, it's really simple. You've done all the hard work. Now we just go over to Submit Report and go ahead and submit that report. It's going to show you the amount. It'll tell you that that was submitted successfully. It'll go to your manager for approval, and once approved, you will be notified and reimbursed. If there's any issues with it, it will come back to you. So if something was entered incorrectly, you will receive communication from us sending that back to you. And that will most likely come from your event coordinators. Now, if you have any questions on selecting the correct division or business unit, you can call or reach out to your event coordinator. And if you have any questions about this process, we do have a training guide as well, so please ask for that training guide if you have not seen that already. Thank you so much, and good luck with your reimbursements.